Alright guys, welcome back to a brand new video. Today, as you saw on the thumbnail, here are the top 5 things, I'm holding up 10 fingers right now, 5 things to help you get faster. Not just in Assetto Corsa, generally in any game. So these are the sort of things. Now, if you're on Assetto Corsa, which you probably are, especially if you're on PC, you have a lot of settings, like a lot of settings. There is infinite amounts. If you have Content Manager, just get on there and mess about. It's like sort of putting these two. These settings are so important, and the main one I'd recommend are the gamma ones. So that I'd just go settings, controls, clutch, brake, and just go gamma. This basically means that everything, when you press the brake pedal, it's exactly like what you see on the screen. It will go down exactly as you do it, because sometimes if your gamma's higher, the game helps. So when you push it a little bit, it will go loads, or if you push it a little bit, it won't do much, and then you push it further and it will do loads. So you can see like what I mean there. And then the second part of this thing, I actually need to go into Assetto Corsa. Now I know this specific method will be different to Xbox, but when you load into PC, like we've just done here, you have a lot of options. So you have your setup, which is saves. You can change your gears. If you're doing drag racing, you might want longer gears. This means that you can go and have a higher top speed without maxing out. It's the same with tyres. There's no point me trying to get a fast lap if I'm on mediums, like you spawned me in with. I'll go with super softs. You can change your tyre pressure if you want to be drifting, be racing. Then your fuel, lighter, faster, more fuel, you can go for longer. And then you have obviously traction control and ABS, which hopefully you'll be able to set buttons to. Then you have aerodynamics. So if you're doing drag race, you're going to want not much, just so you can like go faster. And if you have a lot, then you can do corners better for somewhere like Monaco. This is all very important, and if you can understand this, it will make you quicker. In knowing what your car's doing and messing with the setup, if you can get a setup that suits you, and even if you do just mess with a few things, like your tyres, like I've done here, right, it will still specifically make you faster. Because like I said, having 10 litres of fuel compared to 80 and you just want to do one flying lap, it's pointless because you're just adding weight. The same with doing super softs or having hards on, you're going to be quicker, right? So it's really important that you always take that time to mess about with that stuff, especially if you're trying to go in and put some good lap times in. So yeah, that group of things. First recommendation. Second recommendation we'll use while we're in this car is setting buttons to traction control, as you can see up there, and ABS, or no clue where I'm going. Now, these two things make a big difference. If you don't know what traction control and ABS are, traction control controls your traction. This is the grip and the friction between your tyres on the road. So if I turn traction control off and go in a straight line, just rev it up to max revs, traction control off, my wheels are sliding and I have to sort of control it a little bit. Now if I put it on level 1, max revs, it's much easier. But this, in theory, makes you slow, because if you saw there will be a bit of lag where the computer in the car is saying, well, your wheels are spinning too much, you're going to spin out. And you'll see, if you look at my bar on the bottom, see how the revs just went completely down. That is basically the car saying, like, you need to stop because you'll spin out. So it does make you slower. But if you're like trying to get some good laps in, turn it off. ABS is the same. It is anti-brake something, whatever. Basically what you need to know is when you have it off, you lock up. Now this is because you are pressing the brake and the brake disc just slams, and therefore the wheel just locks. Whereas if you don't do that and you trail brake nicely, you can, like, it's hard to explain. So I'll actually talk about trail brake in a second, because this actually gets you faster. And, yeah, so these two settings will make you quicker. If you can get used to these two settings without having to like get annoyed, spending time without these settings on and turning everything off, stability control, turbo up to the max if your car is turbo, and getting used to the slip or the ABS, it will make you quicker. It's just one of them things, especially if you're in the F1 games. These games, you'll always be quicker with ABS off, traction control off, and everything off. So that is also good. And at the same time, I'd recommend turning damage to 100%, only because it will then teach you for your mistakes. And then this leads me into my third point quite nicely, and that's trail braking. This is because of ABS. So you can see I have ABS off, and in fact, yeah, off, slam on the brakes, locked up. You see how I just went in a straight line? I couldn't turn. That is locking up. And when you turn ABS on, it doesn't happen. You see I can turn perfectly fine even if I slam on the brakes. Now in theory, you can use this if you're not trying to be competitive or trying to have fun. I don't slag off people that use it, because I think it is quite useful, especially in downforce cars and racing cars to have it. It will be something that probably your parents have on their cars as well. So what I'll do is get up a braking widget just so you can see, and I'll put it right in the center of the screen. So go over here and we'll press pedals. Now this thing will appear, you can see. Ooh. And I don't know where to put it. I'm gonna sort of put it in the middle of the screen. I'll put it right here so you can actually see. And then what trail braking is, as I represent you now, is you're literally going, and as you brake, instead of just going like that and slamming on the brake, you slam on the brake and you just slowly release it. And I'll show you the difference now. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna head into the first corner, and we're gonna just spam on the brakes, and I didn't look up because I had ABS on. Alright, that's quite funny. We're going to slam on the brakes, and we're going to look up and go into the grass. And once you're on the grass, especially in downforce cars, right, you're pretty much done. So this is even on soft tyres or super soft tyres, as you can see here, you're locking up. But the way to stop this is to slam on the brakes and slowly let off, which I need to find a corner to do it in. This not only helps you because it sort of makes you brake less. It's a bit weird, and you always will make the corner. I don't understand it myself. I just understand what to do. And basically what you want to try and do is, instead of slamming on the brakes, I'll do it on this next corner. Instead of slamming on the brakes, oh my days, my wheel's going crazy, we're going to slowly let off the brake. And it just shifted, downshifted. But I don't know if you saw that. As soon as you slam on the brake, just slowly let off, and normally it works. So you might look up a little bit, which you shouldn't really, like I did. It depends. You're not really meant to like slam it down. Just brake normally and then slowly let off, as you can see there. But this car's quite sensitive to downshift, which is and then we brake, and then we slowly let off, hit our racing line, get the exit on the curb, bosh. So you can see ABS is off, because if I press the button, it will now say ABS on or level 1, and then we turn it off. So trail braking, like I said before in the second point, having ABS makes you quicker because you trail brake. You sort of do it naturally by stopping, looking up. Yeah, it's the fact you're braking and then slowly letting off, and then that stops you looking up. Now obviously going into heavy braking zones, like I don't know, first corner of Monza, it's pretty difficult to, number one, get the point where you brake, and number two, like not looking up in general. So it does take a lot of practice. And then my 4th point, racing lines. Now this is probably a good track to show it on, but what a lot of people are taught, especially to do go-karting, is just the general thing. You go right out far and then you turn in and then you get out wide again. So yeah, that's right, it's a racing line. But every corner is different, right? Some corners you have to like cut corners completely, some you don't. You should probably go to a bit more cornery track. But that way of just going into a corner and then coming out, it's different because no corners are really the same, right? So look at videos of actual drivers on your game. Just sticking to the curb like this and then not ending out on the left of the track isn't going to work. Even if you have to go a bit deeper in and then sort of hit that curb a bit later, just so you can come out properly like I did there. It's not all about hitting the apex as early as you can. Sometimes you have to get to the exit curb a lot earlier or later depending on what corner you're on. So I'll try and find a track where I can probably show you. Spa's probably quite a good example. Like sight. So that's another big thing, like knowing what corners ahead as well. So Eau Rouge, I would say, is a bit of a prime example of like how you can take a racing line. Because me personally, I don't have my racing line on. I feel like it's better to find your own. Some people will turn in and then go like that, and you can see it just instantly gone wide. And that's not really good. There's so many different ways. So if I restart, so some people would take it. You could take like two completely different ways of taking a Rouge, and that is just a prime example. I don't know which one's quicker. Personally, I don't think it's a corner you can lose a lot of speed. Well, you can, but also corners like this where I've just completely cut that and it's just sent me into this curb, and you can see how my car is unsettled on the curbs, whereas there's ways where you can just avoid that completely. So this corner personally, go a bit deeper and then try and hit this curb. Oh my days, this car's so sensitive to downshifts. Again, there's only like a few ways, so you can see what I mean. There's so many different ways, and trying those different lines, I suppose on games like Gran Turismo where you don't really have to, that's fine. At the same time, if people have this, or I used to have at least, this idea of just hitting the centre of the curb and then having the exit, where sometimes I'd say going deeper, braking earlier, concentrating on the exit as well is really important, and it's a big point, and it's just how you drive the car. Even if you don't quite touch the inside curb, carrying a momentum and stuff like that, it's quite important. And personally, I think taking a different racing line or experimenting with them can shave like seconds, especially if you're not like every lap very consistent off your time. So yeah, that's quite important. And then my fifth and final reason would be to practice. I know it's probably quite boring, but you can't expect to do one flying lap and just smash the time. I've spent like hours perfecting or trying to perfect a lap, because on tracks as big as Spa, which are massive, you can never actually get that. Like I didn't get that corner perfect at all. I braked way too early. I didn't take enough speed through. So yeah, practice and then exploring all those different lines, like I was saying before, because you're never gonna get it perfect. Think how many times Lewis Hamilton's raced at Spa. He's been in F1 for like probably over 20 years, or about 20 years, and he's raced at tracks and stuff like that. I think Max Verstappen, he does sim racing, and look how dominant he was. Just practice, and that's why they do use simulators, just to get that extra practice in. They wouldn't use it for no reason, and yeah, that's one of the reasons. So I'd say if you're on a track and trying to get quicker, oh my days, these downshifts are so sensitive. I literally downshift. But yeah, thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, do whatever, comment, and for now, have a fantastic day.